Welcome out to the range today. Bear with what tractors you hear in the background. It's harvest season. Today we're going to be talking about a big announcement for the channel, and that is that Bi-Mart is now a sponsor of the channel. Go to them for all your everyday needs. We're going to demonstrate and talk about transitioning from a long gun to a handgun today, how you would do that, why you would do it, and if it is always quicker than just reloading the long gun. Before we get to any of that though, I just read that scientists are experimenting with splicing genes of cheetahs and crabs. My fear is that this experiment could go sideways real fast. Ba-dum-ba-dum. All right, welcome back. Before we get to the meat and potatoes, why am I standing like this? Well, because I feel like it today, and I think it's a good pose for where a man belongs. The other thing is, why do I have my IFAK up here when I'm wearing this kind of rig? Because I can get to it with both hands. I can't get to the middle of my back as easy when I'm sitting in a rig, and just years of wearing a duty belt. My stuff is from basically here forward. Traditionally, cops don't put anything in the small of their back. One, I don't like a flashlight slapping me in the crack of the ass. And two, when you're sitting in a rig all day long, it just gets in the way. It causes you more back problems than the rest of it. So that's why mine's here. You put it where you need to put yours. But you should have one with you when you have a firearm. That being said, why do we need to worry about, other than in video games, which this is not about video games, why do we need to worry about transitioning from a long gun to a handgun? When Paul got into his shooting, we can talk a little more freely about it now. He did so with an AR platform rifle in the dark. Had that malfunctioned and he had to continue the fight to defend his wife, he would have had to transition to a firearm because, again, in the dark and everything else, he wouldn't have had the time to fix the problem. That's a very real world situation. Most of us will never be in a situation like that unless you've seen combat or something else. But the normal civilian people probably will never have that happen. Is it a skill if you're going to carry an AR for multiple adversaries and so on that you should practice? Yes, it is. It is a skill that you want to have. So should your firearm go down or your rifle go down, you can transition and stay in the fight until you have a chance to fix it. Is it always the best thing to do? Maybe not. You know, the experts out there would say yes, for sure. But that's provided you're using your rifle at handgun distances. If you're out there shooting at things 100 yards away, 200, whatever, just sitting here today, I tell you, probably fix your rifle from behind some cover because your handgun throwing rounds isn't going to most likely get it done. If that's all you can do, putting anything downrange is better than nothing. Where would non-combatant type people, non-people shooting at adversaries, or people that are not shooting at adversaries, where might they use that? Maybe you like black powder hunting and you've been working in the Northwest late November and your cap doesn't go off. Well, for most of us, you can only use a single shot rifle or a double-barreled shotgun. Now, I have had this happen, and my kid, the cap didn't go off on one of the barrels on the double barrel. He pulled the hammer back, boom, put the deer down. When you only have a rifle, that's not an option. Now in Oregon, they take that option away from us. They don't let us use double barrel rifles, and they don't let us shoot big game with black powder handguns. My dad used to live back in Missouri. They did back there, so carrying a black powder cap and ball revolver, see Paul's videos about potency, etc. for those, but that's a viable option in Missouri and probably a lot of other places. Then you have a backup, and especially if you're hunting from a blind, the deer's at 30 yards or 40 yards, you got a typical revolver with a 6 or a 7-inch barrel, I think you could probably get the job done. So that's another example of what you might. Now, modern firearms, and I know this has happened to several people out there, you're late season elk hunt, or you're in Alaska or any other place in this country that is bitter cold when you're out there hunting. Now in the Northwest, it goes from rain or wet snow to bitter cold fairly quickly sometimes in the same time you're in the field. And the possibility of your safety freezing is a very big possibility. I'm guessing in other parts of this country, that's a possibility also, especially if you're like Alaska and you're hunting out there in minus 10-degree weather. The bolt, the lever, something on your firearm freezing up might happen to you. Therefore, you would have to transition. And again, given you're still within handgun range, or you're at rifle range, etc., you just have to go find the next bear. But those are some examples of why you would want to consider this. And we're going to go to the firing line. We're going to demonstrate the modern way with an AR platform. Then we're going to get out some black powder. We're going to get out a lever gun. We're going to get out some other platforms. See if those transitions still work and are viable. So let's get to it. We're about 25 yards. We got the AR platform M556 and a Glock 22 M40 Smith & Wesson. Look at my other videos as to why. Got our hearing protection on. So the first thing we're going to do is I carry mine with a spare magazine on the firearm. In training, I have found that it's easier and quicker than going to my belt, and especially in cop world where you're not allowed to carry a spare magazine where I've been. Getting it from a pocket or something, having it here is much faster. Is it going to be faster than putting the rifle down, drawing the handgun, and getting that on target, especially at this range? I think so, but we're going to put the times on there in editing. So let's get to it. So first drill, we're going to shoot. Firearm's going to go dry. I'm going to reload, get back to work. The one nice thing about being left-handed, for me, with an AR platform, is I can see into the bolt. You can't from where you are, but I can see into the bolt. So I can see if it's empty or malfunctioned. That's a blessing. Very few when you're left-handed. All right, here we go. So downrange, run the weapon dry, reload. That's the first drill. Okay. So now we're going to do that same drill without the reload and transition to the handgun. So here we go. All right. Then you would put your firearm away, pick up your rifle, roll it over. I can see that it's empty. I can see the magazine's empty. I just simply need to insert a new magazine, go to work. Safety on. If it wasn't that, obviously I'd clear the malfunction, fix the issue, get my primary weapon back into whatever fight's left. Now, we're going to get a different set of rifle handgun, maybe a Boltaction or something. Anyway, let's get a different set and see how we do. Now we went the opposite end of the time. I have a 50 caliber Thompson Center Hawken rifle, muzzleloader for those that don't know, cap lock ignition, single shot, it's loaded already. And then for my transition firearm, I have, well, maybe it won't transition. There we go. I have a Ruger Old Army 44 caliber 6-shot cap and ball revolver. It is not a copy of anything. It has fully adjustable sights on it. This is about 45 years old now though. And they don't make these anymore either. So, and in my pocket, I have a speed loader because I'm shooting maxi balls, not a patched round ball. For all you purists, okay, but they had maxi balls in the Civil War, so there you go. Anyway, that's what I hunt with. It's loaded up with a Thompson Center maxi ball, so it's 365 grain lead projectile. We're going to shoot. Obviously, it's one shot. You can put over whatever scenario you want. Now, again, in Oregon, you cannot use a black powder handgun to shoot big game with. That's the law. You can't do it. But in other states, you can. So maybe it is, especially at the 25, 35 yards we're doing today, a viable option for you. I would suggest not having a tie down flat holster though. And just so you know, the reason you have slings is so you could just sling it. I'm not throwing it on the ground, so we'll take the time out of that. All right, here we go. And that maybe is the reason. So now you have to draw your handgun, set this down in case it goes off. Woohoo! True black powder, love it. That was not planned. There is a load in it, but there you go. That's what happens with muzzleloading. Let's get another one, see what we can do. It is noisier than heck out here today. Planes, it doesn't matter. So now we have a very old-fashioned platform, a nylon 66 Remington 22 long rifle, semi-auto, if you're not familiar with them. The way this one loads is it holds 14 rounds in the magazine that's in the butt. This little rod comes out, you put the magazines in. Okay, the rounds one at a time. Very slow to reload. I had one as a kid, first rifle, still have it. Paul didn't like that style, so he went with the just coming out Ruger 1022 with your 10 round rotary magazines and or your big 25 rounds. You've seen them on our channel a lot. But if you're hunting with this, whatever, plinking, etc., but you're really after that squirrel rabbit, is it quicker to transition? Yes, guaranteed. But we're going to demonstrate that. On my hip, I've got a 617 10-shot 22 long rifle Smith & Wesson. So here we go. Oh, it's empty. Set it down gently. Good thing I didn't need to hit the squirrel, but you get the point. Put it away. Now that the squirrel, whatever's run off, you reload your firearm. Now we have a 1895 Marlin guide gun in 450 Marlin and a BFR in 450 Marlin 10-inch barrel. Anyway, is it a little overkill? Yeah, but they're the same caliber. You got an 18-inch barrel that's ported and a 10-inch barrel that is ported. Anyway, I have on this one, and I really like these for you hunters out there. It's called the Booney Packer Sling. I think it's made by Safari Sling. And what happens is you lift the rifle up, this part falls away, this part falls away. This rubber band is just to hold it so I don't have so much sling flopping around in storage. And you bring it up like this, everything's out of your way. It's very nice. When you put it back down, most of the time it slings right like that. Voila, hands-free. Not a tack sling, but very similar to. And this style of sling, I've had one since 1983, 1984. So I use it on my primary hunting rifles. I love them. Not a sponsor, just telling you what I like, what I find handy. Is it as tight as a traditional leather sling that you put over your shoulder? No. Can you wrap your arm in it like you would a leather sling for more precise long distance? No. But you can move through the brush really nice. You can move it out of your way really nice. You can shorten it up. And you can work. So, in this case, I don't have to throw my gun on the ground. And saying that, my dad told me a story a long time ago about he put his shotgun down in some grass field, whatever, went chasing a rabbit, and he spent the next 3 hours looking for his shotgun. Even though I demonstrated today, you would put the gun on the ground. Do not move your feet would be my recommendation. If you had to do that, make darn sure that you pick it up before you go off chasing whatever you think you need to do, because it's not always easy to go find them again. So let's get on to this one though. And I'm not going to shoot 5 or 6 rounds, not at the expense of 450 Marlin. All right. I'm out. I transition to my fancy handgun here. Maybe I should have sighted in. There we go. Remember, when you're doing a handgun though, especially open sights, may take a little bit longer to get on that target. And no, we're shooting short. Long distance is even going to affect that more. If you're super quick on those reloads, that might be your better choice. Right, one more platform today. All right, we're going to start this segment with a close-up of the firearm and the loading of such. What I have in my hands is a Winchester Model 70 375 H&H Safari grade bolt action rifle. The way you load this particular rifle, and a lot similar to it, because it has a drop out floor plate, not a detachable box magazine. One round at a time into the magazine, push it down, the next round till it's full, run the bolt home, put the safety on. You can see why you might want to transition. It's loose rounds, it's the way it is. What I have it backed up with is, you've all seen it before, the Glock 40 6-inch barrel 10mm, and if I was going for game that this was required for, I'd put some good hard cast, maybe buffalo bore, etc. rounds into it. We're going to get over here on the firing line and demonstrate such. All right, no, it's not your eyes or the camera playing tricks on you. It is a right-handed bolt. I'm shooting left-handed. We have the, again, Booney Packer sling on it, so I can just drop it down and draw the handgun. Let's do it. Can't hit it on this. There we go. Red dot. Gotta find it though. All right, let's get this wrapped up, some things put away, meet you at the table. Okay, remember I'm standing like this because I think it's a cool pose for where a man belongs. That said, hopefully you learned something today. Hopefully you're thinking, what am I gonna do? How does my system work? Do I have a system? Is the handgun I'm carrying adequate for the job or replacing my primary long gun? Those all depend on what situation you're planning for, i.e. hunting with a black powder rifle or a 4-shot big bore rifle, whatever it is. You need to figure out the system for you, go out, practice, know how to use it, decide, do I need a different sling? Is slinging the rifle with a traditional leather sling faster and then getting to your handgun than just putting a new magazine in it? Those are all things you need to figure out for yourself. I'm just showing you some different options, some different things, and hopefully generating conversation through the comments. What you do need to do, and my constant recommendation is, find what works for you. And you do that by hitting the range, taking friends out, making it fun, and practicing and training with your equipment and your systems. And we do that so that we're always the best prepared for the worst case situations.